Chapter 138. A mere 7th-level origin realm martial artist dares to embarrass himself? From what I see, he is not qualified. I heard he has a conflict with Dominion Sword Xixiang. Then he is doomed. A simple blade from Dominion Sword Xixiang would be able to turn him into a dog. Let's wait and see. I would like to see how deep a mark he can leave on the black iron ore. At this moment, Li Fuchen was the center of attention. But those who looked at him were all doubtful gazes. Even Chen Fanghua wasn't optimistic about Li Fuchen's chances. It wasn't that she didn't think that Li Fuchen could leave an inch-deep mark on the black iron ore, but she didn't think that Li Fuchen could escape unscathed from the hands of Dominion Sword Lu Wuhuang. After all, after the screening contest was the tournament for the tournament. With Lu Wuhuang's dominance, he would definitely obstruct Li Fuchen. Arriving at the front of the black iron ore, Li Fuchen sized it up. After being tested by over 3,000 people, the black iron ore was filled with crisscross scars. I have yet to test it on the black iron ore. I wonder how deep a mark I can leave without using the mystical dragon secret technique. Li Fuchen didn't have much confidence in the unknown and could only try his best. Taking half a step back and finding the optimal attacking distance, Li Fuchen made his move. No one could see Li Fuchen's action. They could only see Li Fuchen's right hand moving a little. A stream of light fell from the sky like a meteor and penetrated into the black iron ore. That instant burst of intent was enough to make one's mind tremble. A hole the width of 2 fingers appeared on the mystic iron ore, and fine sand flowed out. This is sword intent. Chen Fanghua's mouth was wide open and couldn't close it. Such a fearsome sword intent. Xiao Libi's eyes shrunk into a duck. If Lu Wang's soaring cloud sword intent was dominant and unstoppable, then Li Fuchen's meteor sword intent was the extreme speed and lethality. The former was unstoppable, while the latter made one at a loss. Bai Tao and Luo Yishan looked at each other with a feeling of helplessness as the new generation replaced the old. Is he still human? Everyone was flabbergasted and felt a burning pain on their faces. Comprehending sword intent at the 7th level of the origin realm. He is comparable to Sword Maniac Xixiang. That's right. Sword Maniac Xixiang also comprehended sword intent at the 7th level of the origin realm. His sword Dao comprehension is comparable to Senior Brother Sword Maniac. He's simply a demon. After Li Fuchen burst out with sword intent, everyone no longer despised Li Fuchen. They weren't qualified to despise Li Fuchen. No one could despise Li Fuchen. If you wanted to despise Li Fuchen, you had to at least comprehend sword intent. Otherwise, what right do you have to despise Li Fuchen? Interesting. No wonder you dare to disobey me. So, you have comprehended the sword will. I have underestimated you. But you have the sword will, so do I. Furthermore, my cultivation base is 2 levels higher than yours. Lu Wuhuang's face darkened as he thought to himself. Damn it. Yuan Tian's expression was even darker than Lu Wuhuang's. His mystic class low-tier sword art had also reached the perfection realm, but there was still a huge gap between it and the perfection realm. Li Fuchen once again walked in front of him. The inner sect deacon was shocked. He took out a long and thin ruler and probed it. 2 inches, 2 inches, 9 inches. The inner sect deacon spoke with a trembling voice. He originally thought 8 inches was the limit, but didn't expect Li Fuchen to break the limit and reach 9 inches. Gasp. On the stage, the sound of people taking in cold breaths could be heard. Li Fuchen was only at the 7th level of the origin realm. If he was at the 9th level of the origin realm, wouldn't he be heaven-defying? Li Shidi, how did you do it? Once Li Fuchen walked off the stage, Chen Fanghua quickly asked. Zhao Mingyue had a face of curiosity too. Even if Li Fuchen comprehended sword intent and his technique rank was high, there was no reason for him to surpass Lu Wuhuang. According to what Chen Fanghua knew, Lu Wang's technique rank was already at the 13th rank, which was only 1 rank lower than Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen replied, "You will know once you comprehend sword intent." Without comprehending sword intent, one wouldn't know the difference between sword intents. If Li Fuchen's sword intent was on par with Lu Wuhuang's, Li Fuchen would only be able to leave a mark of 2 inches on the black iron ore. But Li Fuchen's meteor sword intent was much more profound than Lu Wang's soaring cloud sword intent. In Li Fuchen's eyes, Lu Wang's sword intent was still at the stage where it could be released but not withdrawn. Of course, apart from that, Li Fuchen's physical strength was also superior to Lu Wang's. 40,000 kilograms of physical strength was at the peak of the Zhanglan sect. Li Fuchen already knew that the Zhanglan sect only had mystic class, high-tier body refinement techniques. Within a radius of 100,000 miles, only the Heaven Fiend sect had mystic class, peak-tier body refinement techniques. The Zhanglan sect, Violent Saber sect, and other sects didn't have any. Comprehending sword intent is easier said than done. Qin Fanghua shook her head. Generally speaking, a 4-star bone frame would need to be at the Earth realm to comprehend sword intent. Only a rare few could comprehend sword intent at the origin realm. You really are a demon. Zhao Mingyue was speechless. After an entire morning, the screening contest ended. Out of the 4,000 over participants, only 52 passed the screening contest. On average, only 1 out of every 80 or 90 participants passed. The tournament was held in the afternoon, hence everyone went to have lunch first. 1:15 p.m, the stage was bustling with activity again. Inner Sect Grand Elder Zhao Wujin announced, "For the tournament, there are a total of 10 stages. Whoever thinks that they have the ability can go up there and accept the challenges from others. The rules of the tournament is that each participant only has 3 chances to challenge. If they fail all 3 times, they will be eliminated. If the stage host can win 10 matches consecutively, they will enter the top 10 of the inner sect and will not have to accept any more challenges. Alright, let the tournament begin." Finishing his announcement, Zhao Wujin sat down. "Then I shall be stage 1 stage host." Xiao Libi stood on the first stage. "I am number 2. I am number 3. Of the 52 participants, 10 of them stood on the stage. But Lu Wuhuang and Li Fuchen didn't stand on the stage. The two of them looked at each other, with battle intent in their eyes. "Xiao Libi, I, Chao Guang shall challenge you." A silhouette jumped onto the first arena. Chao Guang, peak stage origin realm and also a 4-star bone frame. During the screening contest, his sword scar was 1.9 inches deep, which wasn't any inferior to Bai Tao and Luo Yishan. "Chao Guang, you're not my match. Don't waste your chance." Xiao Libi said. Chao Guang said, "That's not necessarily true. Take my sword." "Since that's the case, Chao Guang, I'll show you my soaring heaven sword will." Xiao Libi drew his sword. The moment he drew his sword, everyone was shocked. The incomparably sharp soaring heaven sword technique seemed to come alive in Xiao Libi's hands. The ethereal and sharp soaring heaven sword intent instantly broke through Chao Guang's sword technique defense. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Chao Guang was knocked off the stage. His face was filled with fear. "You've comprehended the sword intent?" Xiao Bieli smiled. "My God. Senior brother Xiao Bieli has also comprehended sword intent. There is indeed a higher mountain. I originally thought that only Dominion Sword Shixiang and Li Fuchen comprehended sword intent. I didn't expect Xiao Shixiang to comprehend sword intent too. This is going to be interesting." Everyone was horrified. As expected, Li Fuchen nodded silently. Xiao Libi indeed comprehended sword intent. The soaring heaven sword intent was ethereal and swift. It was the hardest to guard against. "Not bad, you are worth teaching." Chapter 139. After exposing his sword intent, no one else dared to challenge Xiao Libi anymore. What a joke! Challenging Xiao Libi, who comprehended sword intent, was just asking to be humiliated? In this world, only those who comprehended sword intent could be considered a true swordsman. If not, they wouldn't even be considered a swordsman and would only be a sword user. "Xiao Libi, let me have a taste of your moves." Lu Wang's body flashed and landed on stage 1. Xiao Libi looked at Lu Wuhuang with an astonished expression. "Lu Shidi, there is no meaning in us fighting. The top 10 would be able to enter the 100 Herbs hidden domain. There was no need to fight to the death." Lu Wuhuang replied, "I think there is meaning. There is no first place in literature and no second place in martial arts. I have long wanted to have a match with you. Let's see who is the true number one of the inner sect. I see. Let's fight then. Xiao Libi wasn't afraid to fight, he just didn't like meaningless battles. Xiao Libi Xixiang is going to fight with Dominion Sword Xixiang. I wonder who is better. Shu, stop talking and focus on the fight. Everyone's attention was immediately drawn to stage 1 and didn't even blink. This Lu Wuhuang has really engraved his dominance into his bones. Li Fuchen had some admiration for Lu Wuhuang. Unlike others, Lu Wang's dominance wasn't just for show or to bully others. It was his nature to be dominant. No matter who he was facing, he would always look down on them. It might be uncomfortable, but this was his sword Dao. Lu Wuhuang's sword Dao. But this sword Dao was hard to control. Just like what Lu Wuhuang said, there is no first place in literature and no second place in martial arts. You have your sword Dao, but so do others. When your sword Dao interferes with someone else's sword Dao, it will undoubtedly result in a backlash. The Dominion sword Dao was destined to be a sword Dao that only allowed success and no failure. Clang. On stage 1, Xiao Libi's sword clashed with Lu Wuhuang's sword. Xiao Libi's sword style was ethereal and sharp. Like a gale from the 9 heavens, it was elegant and exquisite. Lu Wuhuang's sword style was extremely dominant. Like a collapsing sea of clouds, it came crashing down like a hot knife through butter. This battle between the two was a battle between swordsmen and also a battle between sword intents. The outcome of whose sword intent was superior would soon be revealed. Li Fuchen, who do you think will win? Zhao Mingyu asked. Li Fuchen replied, I am afraid it is Lu Wuhuang. Xiao Libi's sword intent is also very strong. That might not be the case. Qin Fanghua objected. Li Fuchen explained, even though comprehending sword intent isn't related to willpower, but after comprehending sword intent and willpower will gradually intersect. Lu Wuhuang's willpower is domineering and his soaring cloud sword intent is also domineering and disdainful. With the combination of the sword and man, the resulting firepower will be greater. Just as Li Fuchen expected, after 100 moves, Xiao Libi gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. Xiao Libi, take my soaring cloud lightning. The mystic iron sword in Lu Wuhuang's hand was like a bolt of lightning, breaking through the clouds, bringing with it an indescribable tyrannical aura as it slashed towards Xiao Libi. What a domineering sword! Xiao Libi resisted with all his might. Then, Xiao Libi was sent flying and nearly fell off the stage. Xiao Libi didn't attack again. He said, Junior brother Lu, you've won. I'm convinced. His soaring sky sword intent was ultimately inferior to Lu Wuhuang's soaring cloud sword intent. Lu Wuhuang didn't reply. He looked through the crowd and looked at Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen said, You have just fought once. If I were to fight you now, it would be an unfair victory. My blood is still boiling, come down for a fight. Unless you don't dare to. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Executing his maneuvers, Li Fuchen skimmed toward stage 1. 100 moves. Lu Wuhuang extended a finger. Not even 1,000 moves. Li Fuchen shook his head. He knew what Lu Wuhuang meant. Lu Wuhuang meant to defeat him within 100 moves. You overestimate yourself. 100 moves and I will make you roll off the stage. Lu Wuhuang drew his sword. With a single slash, it was a brilliant and domineering prowess that couldn't be blocked. The speed of the sword was extremely fast and didn't give off a clumsy feeling. Since Xiao Xixiang isn't able to break your soaring cloud sword intent, let me do it. Unsheathing the black iron sword, Li Fuchen thrusted in mid-air. The sword light was resplendent like a shooting star. Cling, 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 cling. Both of their swords were extremely fast. In an instant, it was unknown how many times they clashed, causing everyone to be dumbfounded. Such a fast sword, I can't even withstand half a move. Dominion sword Lu Wuhuang, sword demon Li Fuchen. This is the true pinnacle duel. Not good, my heart is beating so fast. The crowd held their breaths, not daring to miss out on any details. Li Fuchen's title of sword demon was coined by an inner sect disciple. Grasping sword intent at the 7th level of the origin realm, comparable to a sword maniac. It wasn't an exaggeration to describe him as a monster. Once this title came out, it gained the recognition of many. Of course, there were those who didn't. Titles were earned through combat, not words. In order for Li Fuchen to obtain the title of Sword Demon, he first had to have the ability of a monster. Even if he couldn't defeat Dominion Sword Lu Wuhuang, he had to at least exchange a few hundred moves with Lu Wuhuang. There is always someone better. Compared to them, I, Plum Sword, Chen Fanghua, am just SOS. Chen Fanghua laughed bitterly. She watched Li Fuchen grow step by step. When Shoshua Town was defending against the Beast Wave, Li Fuchen's ability wasn't enough to go against the Class 2 high-tier Ironback Gorilla. But after such a short period of time, Li Fuchen's ability had already completely surpassed her. This made her feel unreal. Zhao Mingyue said, "Chen Shiji, my grandfather once said that there are countless of prodigies in this world. There will always be some that you can never reach and can only look up to. He experienced it when he was young, but he gradually got over it. So don't be too discouraged." Chen Fanghua laughed. "Why would I be discouraged? Zhao Shimi, you are overthinking. I am just lamenting my own insignificance. My Tsanglan sect already has plenty of prodigies, but in the entire world, my Tsanglan sect is just a drop in the ocean. To reach the pinnacle of the martial Dao, one has to compete with countless prodigies. Since I can't handle this kind of pressure, I shall let Li Shidi handle it." As the two of them were conversing, the battle on stage number 1 was reaching its climax. Lu Wuhuang's ability was indeed formidable. Without using the mystical dragon secret technique, it wouldn't be easy for Li Fuchen to defeat his opponent. After all, Lu Wuhuang was at least 2 levels higher than him. "Li Fuchen, if this is all you have, then you shall be defeated." Hazy Battle Qi. Lu Wuhuang's figure turned into a blur. With a qi vibration, a horrifying qi presence rushed into the sky. In the next moment, Lu Wuhuang cleaved at Li Fuchen with an astonishing speed. The sword light was a blur, as though dozens of swords were gathered together. This is the 2-star secret technique, Hazy Battle Qi. In the inner sect, only 5-star bone frames can redeem secret techniques in advance. Li Fuchen is in danger. Among the inner sect disciples, many of them had heard of the name Hazy Battle Qi. That was why they knew how fearsome this secret technique was. It allowed one's qi to vibrate at a high speed, greatly increasing the firepower. Li Shidi has lost. Xiao Libi shook his head. "Lu Wuhuang, do you think you are the only one who knows a secret technique? I know it too." Chapter 140. This is a 3-star secret technique? Zhao Wujin was hesitant. Activating the 3rd rank of the mystical dragon secret technique, a large amount of scarlet fire qi was transformed into mystical dragon qi. Within the soaring qi presence, dragon prowess was emitted and shook the sky. Under the shroud of Li Fuchen's qi presence, Lu Wuhuang's expression had a drastic change. It even affected his sword style. It must be just a facade. His true ability cannot exceed mine. Some secret techniques could increase the qi presence but didn't increase the user's ability by much. Be defeated. With the secret technique in overdrive, Lu Wuhuang's sword speed didn't decrease but increased instead. With a tyrannical qi presence, he slashed at Li Fuchen. "You are the one who is going to be defeated." Once again feeling the magma-like qi flow, Li Fuchen felt as though a volcano was buried within his body, and it was suffocating if it didn't erupt. Executing Meteor Fall, Li Fuchen's sword instantly surpassed the limits of everyone's vision and reaction. Even some of the inner sect deacons who were at the Earth realm couldn't see the trajectory of this sword. They could only see an extremely resplendent meteor bursting forth from the void. It was so beautiful, so dreamy. The sword qi penetrated through Lu Wuhuang's body and froze in place. He was defeated. His tyrannical sword Dao was defeated. It was defeated by someone he didn't want to be defeated. What is wrong with this? Lu Wuhuang's eyes were at a loss. Seeing the situation, Li Fuchen shook his head. The tyrannical sword Dao was like this. Once defeated, there would be cracks in the spirit will and the sword intent would be weakened. Your tyrannical sword Dao is too unyielding. It is only a matter of time before it is defeated. Li Fuchen said indifferently. 2 inner sect deacons supported Lu Wuhuang off the stage. On the stage, there was an uproar. Even tyrannical sword Xixiang was defeated. Am I dreaming? This is too mystical. Is there anything more mystical than this? Our blatant ridicule was like slapping our own faces. Most importantly, we didn't even realize it. Who would have known that a normal bone frame would be so heaven-defying? I even suspect that his bone frame is a mutated bone frame. A regular bone frame stone can't detect it. Sword Demon Li Fuchen, this title belongs to him. Sword Demon, Sword Demon. I wonder if this Sword Demon will be able to produce a miracle in the 100 Herbs hidden domain 3 months later. Will he be able to kill the prodigies of the other sects and make them flee in a sorry state? At this moment, everyone acknowledged Li Fuchen's Sword Demon title. At this moment, Li Fuchen used his exceptional ability to prove himself. In the future, no one would dare to criticize him, because the title of Sword Demon was not to be reproached. Grand Elder, where did this Li Fuchen get this 3-star secret technique? Should we interrogate him? One of the inner sect elders asked Zhao Wujin. Zhao Wujin glanced at the other party. Everyone has their own opportunities. So what if he used a 5-star secret technique? Wujin. It is sword, sect, sword, is sword, star, demon, secting, Li and sword, sect disciple. Zhao Wujin knew that his position as Grand Elder was being eyed by many. Since Li Fuchen was someone he valued, he would naturally be a thorn in the eyes of others. However, Li Fuchen was truly too outstanding. Outstanding to the point that it felt unreal. Was he still a normal bone frame? Perhaps. No one could predict his future. As Li Fuchen became the arena master of Stage 1, Stage 1 became an impenetrable fortress in the eyes of the crowd. Don't even mention challenging it, they couldn't even muster the will to fight. Sword Demon. This title is really suitable for him. Zhao Mingyue commented. Chen Fanghua laughed. Isn't that so? A normal bone frame is already so heaven-defying. How are we supposed to live? There were 10 stages. Stage 1 wasn't allowed to be challenged, but the other stages could still be challenged. There were 3 chances and each chance was exceptionally precious. Hence, everyone chose their opponents carefully and didn't dare to challenge them easily. Yuan Tian's basic ability was at the bottom, but he was the same as Lu Wuhuang and cultivated a 2-star secret technique. After executing the 2-star secret technique, his ability instantly rose to the top class and used it to occupy a stage. Chen Fanghua's basic ability was slightly stronger than Yuan Tian. Out of the 2 challenges, she succeeded once, but was quickly defeated again. She was only left with 1 last chance. As for Lu Wuhuang, an inner sect elder was helping him recuperate. No matter what, Lu Wuhuang was an inner sect disciple who was just inferior to Li Fuchen. He mustn't lose the chance to enter the 100 Herbs hidden domain because of his injuries. Halfway through his recuperation, Lu Wuhuang opened his eyes and traces of tyrannical qi gathered. Elder, that's enough. You have only recovered 30%, it isn't suitable for you to fight yet. Recovering 30% is enough. Lu Wuhuang stood up and walked towards one of the stages. Do you want to come down or do I have to send you flying? Arriving at the stage, Lu Wuhuang spoke indifferently. The arena master was Bai Tao. He replied, You are injured now and might not be a match for me. It is impossible to win without a fight. Try me then. Lu Wuhuang made his move. After 10 moves, Bai Tao suffered a crushing defeat. Dominion Sword Xixiang is indeed Dominion Sword Xixiang. Even though he is injured, he isn't someone Bai Tao Xixiang can compare with. A pity that Sword Demon Li Fuchen is suppressing him. If not, he would be the most dazzling disciple in this tournament. Everyone was discussing softly. After defeating Bai Tao, Lu Wuhuang looked at Li Fuchen. If you think you can easily crush my willpower, then you are wrong. My Dominion Sword Dao is a Dominion Sword Dao and also an indomitable Sword Dao. No one can stop my Sword Dao, not even you. Follow behind me. I am afraid you won't even get to eat the dust. Li Fuchen said. Lu Wuhuang's face twitched. Too domineering. Why did he feel that sword demon Li Fuchen was even more domineering than Dominion sword Lu Wuhuang? This was what everyone was thinking. Lu Wuhuang's domineering aura is unyielding. Li Fuchen's domineering aura is deep and reserved. Someone commented. This child sure is interesting. Zhao Wujin laughed. Finally, the top 10 of the inner sect was decided. Chen Fenghua's luck was extremely good. After succeeding her third challenge, she managed to last till the end. The main reason was that most of the disciples had used up their 3 chances. As such, the top 10 of the inner sect were Li Fuchen, Lu Wuhuang, Xiao Libi, Luo Yishan, Bai Tao, Chao Guang, Yuan Tian, Chen Fenghua, and 2 other 4-star bone frame inner sect disciples who were at the peak stage of the origin realm. A total of 8 males and 2 females. Zhao Wujin stood up and with a fling of his hand, 10 special tokens landed in the hands of the 10 disciples. These are 2-star secret order tokens and can only be used once. Within these 3 months, other than cultivating diligently, it is best for all of you to master a 2-star secret technique. Within the 100 herbs hidden domain, your opponents will be prodigies from the other sections. If you are careless, you might even die inside. If anyone wants to give up now, there is still a chance. I can get someone to take your place. Hearing this, no one was willing to give up. What a joke. Opportunities and dangers always coexisted. What was a little danger? Li Fuchen, come with me. Chapter 141. Is the secret method you used a 3-star secret method? In a remote place, Zhao Wujin asked. Li Fuchen nodded, yes. Zhao Wujin didn't ask where the secret art came from, but directly said, now you have 2 choices. 1, refuse to hand over the secret art, and the second, hand over the secret art and get a lot of contribution points. Which one will you choose? The second rule. Li Fuchen didn't hesitate. The people of the Zheng clan needed the Jade Buddha statue to cultivate the mystical dragon secret technique, but he had already mastered the mystical dragon secret technique. He could directly write down the cultivation content of the secret technique for others to cultivate. Smart. Zhao Wujin had a look of approval on his face as he said, exchanging for a secret art and contributing for a secret art are different. Exchanging for a 1-star secret art only requires 5,000 contribution points, 50,000 for a 2-star secret art, and 500,000 for a 3-star secret art. As for a secret art, it'll double. In other words, if you contribute the mystical dragon secret art, you'll get 1,000,000 contribution points. 1,000,000 contribution points? Li Fuchen raised his eyebrows. 1,000,000 contribution points was out of his expectations. In the end, he was still taking advantage of the Zheng clan. In the Azure Water sect, the higher the cultivation, the more contribution points were required. For example, the Scarlet Flame mystic technique that he was cultivating was about to reach the highest realm. At that time, he would need to exchange for a higher level cultivation technique. In the Tsanglan sect, a mystic class, high-tier technique was worth at least 200,000 contribution points. A mystic class, peak-tier technique was worth at least 1,000,000 contribution points. If it was the true Azure Water technique or the true Inferno technique, it would be at least 1.5 million contribution points. In addition, exchanging for martial arts manuals also required a lot of contribution points. Now that he was cultivating low-tier yellow class sword arts, he could no longer increase his sword Dao foundation. There were 100 types of low-tier yellow class sword arts, and they covered almost all low-tier basic sword techniques. Therefore, he planned to exchange for a large number of mid-tier yellow class sword arts to increase his sword Dao foundation. In the future, he would exchange for a large number of high-tier and peak-tier yellow class sword arts. Also, elixirs, leather armor, and some life-saving items all required contribution points. Contribution points were the currency of the sect. Without currency, it would be difficult to move an inch. Moreover, he did not want to fish frequently, as fishing would waste too much of his time and energy. Zheng family, if there's a chance in the future, we can help them again. Li Fuchen thought in his heart. The next day, Li Fuchen arrived at the martial hall. The secret technique was also in the martial arts hall, but it was in a spacious secret room. When Li Fuchen arrived at the hidden room, Xiao Libi, Lu Wuhuang, and the others were already there. Everyone was choosing their favorite 2-star secret technique. Seeing Li Fuchen, Lu Wuhuang grunted. Li Fuchen didn't mind and picked up a 2-star secret technique scroll to read. Divine Movement Legs, a 2-star secret technique. After mastering it, one's speed will increase tremendously and one's legs will be surrounded by astral winds. This secret technique is not bad. It's a secret technique for escaping. Li Fuchen's eyes lit up. Although the shadowless kick was not bad, it was still a leg technique. It could not be compared to the divine movement leg, which specialized in hurrying. Boiling blood technique, 2-star secret technique. Burns qi and blood to increase all aspects of one's physical attributes, especially one's reaction speed. Secret pattern art, 2-star secret art. Carves secret patterns on the body. After activating the patterns, it can increase the explosive power of Zhen qi, improve the defense of the flesh, and reduce the damage. Sunflower sword qi, a 2-star secret art. Plant a seed of sunflower sword qi in your body to nurture sword qi. At a critical moment, you can activate the sword qi to injure your enemies. There was a total of 27 2-star secret techniques, and Li Fuchen went through every single one of them. Finally, Li Fuchen chose the divine movement legs. It wasn't because of the divine movement legs' speed of escaping, at least not entirely. The world was huge and having fast speed was a good thing. Be it escaping, traveling, or completing a mission, the divine movement legs would be very useful. Since he already had the mystical dragon secret technique, he didn't need any secret techniques to increase his combat ability. After choosing the secret technique, Li Fuchen redeemed another 30 yellow class, mid-tier sword art manuals. Back at his courtyard, Li Fuchen immediately started researching on the divine movement legs. The divine movement legs was the same as the mystical dragon secret technique. It required multiple acupoints on the legs to be opened. But the divine movement legs only had 2 ranks. The first rank was the 2 legs of wind. The second rank was the divine wind leg shadow. With the experience from cultivating the mystical dragon secret technique, Li Fuchen's cultivation speed of the divine movement legs was extremely fast. In just 3 days, he successfully cultivated the first rank of the divine movement legs. On the empty ground outside the courtyard, Li Fuchen leaned forward. Without any sound or presence. In the next moment, Li Fuchen sprinted with the gale. Due to the extreme speed, Li Fuchen couldn't even make simple changes in direction. So fast. The first rank is already much faster than the shadowless leg. The second rank would probably be at least twice as fast. Li Fuchen finally witnessed what a secret technique that was specially used for traveling was. Once this secret technique was activated, the qi in his legs would resonate with the air flow in the outside world, producing a layer of wind. With the assistance of the air flow, Li Fuchen sprinted without feeling any resistance, as though he was traveling with the wind. The only flaw was that the divine movement legs couldn't change directions as he wished. It wasn't like the shadowless leg, which was ghostly and could change directions at will, making it hard for the enemy to predict. After familiarizing himself with the first rank of the divine movement legs, Li Fuchen began to comprehend the second rank. The second rank's difficulty was undoubtedly several folds higher. Not only did it require the qi in his legs to resonate with the air flow in the outside world, it also required the qi in his legs to form a dipper wind. Once the dipper wind was formed, Li Fuchen could stay close to the ground and sprint for a long period of time, without the need to step on the ground. For this rank, Li Fuchen spent over half a month to complete it. On this day, on the mountain road, a figure was sprinting close to the ground. The speed was so fast that only the shadow of his legs could be seen. It was as though he was treading on the wind and was extremely unbelievable. Too fast. Li Fuchen looked to both sides. In the past, even when he was sprinting at top speed, he would still be able to clearly sense the surroundings. But now, it was a little blurry. With his incredible eyesight, when he executed the shadowless leg, he could clearly sense the surroundings. But when he executed the divine movement legs, he wasn't able to sense the surroundings in detail. By the time he could sense the surroundings in detail, it was already unknown where he was. The speed is almost twice as fast as the shadowless leg. Taking a deep breath, Li Fuchen revolved the wind shadow steps. He wanted to see how fast the wind shadow steps combined with the divine movement legs would be. A subtle piercing sound could be heard. Li Fuchen's figure and leg shadows had all vanished. Only a vague transparent figure could be seen shuttling through the air. There is a sound. It seems like the speed is too fast. Even the wind shadow steps and divine movement legs are unable to eliminate the resistance. Li Fuchen thought to himself. When he looked to both sides, he could only see a distorted radiance. Everything seemed to have blended together, like a lump of paste. It was impossible to distinguish which was which. Closing his eyes and opening them again, there was a flash of blue with a hint of green. Chapter 142. During the process of cultivating the divine movement leg, Li Fuchen was also cultivating mid-tier, yellow-class sword arts. Perhaps it was due to the increase in his Sword Dao foundation. In less than a month, Li Fuchen was able to comprehend 6 yellow-class, mid-tier sword arts to the trance stage. If it was in the past, it would have been an impossible feat. Yellow-class sword arts are all foundation sword arts, but foundation sword arts are also differentiated. Low-tier, yellow-class sword arts are low-tier foundation sword arts, while mid-tier, yellow-class sword arts are mid-tier foundation sword arts. A mid-tier foundation sword art is actually the result of combining multiple low-tier foundation sword arts. Some of the stronger mid-tier foundation sword arts are even the result of combining more than a dozen low-tier foundation sword arts. Li Fuchen had a feeling that if he could comprehend 1,000 yellow-class sword arts one day, he might be able to create his own mystic-class sword art. To be able to create a mystic-class sword art was an incredible feat. Anyone who could create a mystic-class sword art was qualified to be called a Sword Dao master. The Zhanglan sect had plenty of heaven realm martial artists, but only a few were qualified to be called a Sword Dao master. 9 gates. 24 gates. 30 gates. Just like when he first cultivated yellow-class, low-tier sword arts, Li Fuchen's sword arts cultivation speed was getting faster and faster. In the first month, he only cultivated 9 yellow-class, mid-tier sword arts to the trance stage. In the second month, it suddenly climbed to 15. In the third month, only half of the time had passed and all 30 yellow-class, mid-tier sword arts were already at the trance stage. In the courtyard, Li Fuchen's body was bursting with sword intent. The meteor sword intent was like a monster, constantly absorbing the essence of the Sword Dao to strengthen itself. Could it be that sword intent can be promoted? Li Fuchen thought to himself. With all 30 mid-tier, yellow-class sword arts at the trance stage, Li Fuchen didn't redeem any more. Firstly, there wasn't enough time. Secondly, he felt that the Scarlet Mystic Flame technique was on the verge of a breakthrough. If the Scarlet Mystic Flame technique broke through again, it would be the highest rank, the 15th rank. This was an extremely important matter, and to a certain extent, it was even more important than comprehending sword intent, because the Scarlet Mystic Flame technique was at the mid-tier, mystic class, while the meteor sword style was only at the low tier. The sun was shining brightly. Li Fuchen sat on top of a fake mountain, not moving an inch. His body was emitting traces of flames. If someone had X-ray vision, they would see that Li Fuchen's body seemed to be nurturing a furnace. The furnace was like a living creature, swallowing a large amount of qi. After the innate qi was spat out from the furnace, it was incomparably tyrannical, with a trace of fiery red crystal color. Fortunately, I have cultivated the hidden blood-body refinement art. Otherwise, my meridians and flesh would not be able to withstand such scorching hot qi. The scorching heat cultivation technique was one of the most overbearing cultivation techniques, and it had extremely high requirements for the user's physical fitness. If one's physique was lacking, not to mention the 15th level, even if they were to break through to the 13th or 14th level, they would be burnt to death by the flames of lust. In less severe cases, their meridians would at least wither and they would become crippled. It was said that one of the Azure Water sect's 2 absolute arts, the true Inferno technique, had a much higher requirement for the physical body. If not, it would be impossible to push the true Inferno technique to such a high rank. In the entire Zhonglan sect, there wasn't a single person who could cultivate the true Inferno technique to the highest rank, the 21st rank. It wasn't that he didn't have enough comprehension, but that he couldn't and didn't dare to. With Li Fuchen's current physical fitness, even if he were to cultivate the true Inferno technique, he would only be able to reach the 4th or 5th rank. In order to break through to a higher rank, he would first have to increase his cultivation level. With a higher cultivation level, the protection of the body would be much tighter. Days passed by. Every day when the sun rose, Li Fuchen would sit cross-legged on top of the fake mountain and cultivate. Only after the sun set would Li Fuchen stop. There were only 10 days left before the opening of the 100 Herbs hidden domain. A horrifying scorching heat intent violently expanded. This scorching heat intent was formless and formless, but it truly existed. Wherever it covered, it would be scorched black. In an instant, the courtyard that Li Fuchen resided in had cracks on the ground, the walls, the houses, the trees burning, and the rivers drying up. This scorching heat intent seemed to have the effect of absorbing the scorching heat energy from heaven and earth. Wherever it covered, a large amount of scorching heat energy would gather and roast. Blaze. An eye-piercing red light burst forth. The fake mountain that Li Fuchen was sitting on melted at a speed visible to the naked eye, as though it had become a giant candle. Gradually opening his eyes, 2 blazing red rays of light shot out from Li Fuchen's eyes. Is this the 15th rank of the Scarlet Flame Mystic Technique? Li Fuchen opened up his right hand and the scarlet fire chi gushed out like a bundle of blazing flames. This flame had its own will. With the support of this will, the temperature of the flame was extremely high, so high that it was unbelievable. It even caused the air to distort. The scarlet fire chi's original temperature isn't that scary. But with the support of the scarlet fire intent, it is horrifying. It is as though it has a soul. Li Fuchen took a deep breath. Coming to the front of a black iron ore, Li Fuchen pressed both his hands on it and covered it with the blazing scarlet fire chi. 10 minutes later, the black iron ore that was as tall as a human was refined into a black iron the size of a wash basin. Even though this black iron still had a lot of impurities, but at least it was successfully refined. The scarlet fire intent sure lives up to its name. Even Li Fuchen, who comprehended the meteor sword intent, couldn't help but be shocked. He realized that he had underestimated the difference between a mystic class mid-tier intent and a mystic class low-tier intent. His meteor sword intent had absorbed a large amount of sword Dao essence, but when compared to the scarlet fire intent, it was still slightly inferior. A profound class mid-tier true meaning is already so tyrannical. I wonder how tyrannical an Earth class true meaning would be. Also, is the legendary Heaven class true meaning really, as recorded, able to interfere with the operation of Heaven and Earth? Martial Dao, Martial Dao. There was a Dao in martial arts. And the greatest Dao was naturally the Heaven Dao, the Great Dao. Heaven class martial arts were created by nature and were undoubtedly very close to the Heaven Dao. But the martial Dao intent was the essence of martial arts. It was the sublimation of martial arts and was closer to the Heaven Dao. Not thinking about these distant matters, Li Fuchen had to consider how to stabilize the 15th rank of the Scarlet Flame Mystic Technique. Everywhere he went, the scarlet fire intent was uncontrollable and spread out wantonly, extremely overbearing. This was a sign that the scarlet fire intent wasn't stable enough. In Li Fuchen's opinion, an uncontrollable power wasn't his own. What he needed was an uncontrollable power. 3 days later, the scarlet fire intent had stabilized. As long as he didn't intentionally revolve the 15th rank of the Scarlet Flame Mystic Technique, the scarlet fire intent wouldn't appear. Apart from that, the scarlet fire intent was actually related to emotions. Once his emotions fluctuated, the scarlet fire intent would fluctuate too. It seems like the mystic class mid-tier intent is more intertwined with my willpower. The scarlet fire intent is extremely violent. Once I get angry, the scarlet fire intent should be even stronger. Looking at the messy courtyard, Li Fuchen let out a bitter laugh. The courtyard was fine, just a little unsightly. But the furniture and mattresses in the house had all been turned into ashes. Had it not been for the fact that the entire courtyard was built with hard rocks, the entire courtyard might have been set ablaze by now. The next day, an inner sect deacon sent a message for Li Fuchen to head to the inner sect Grand Hall. Chapter 143. Inner Sect Grand Hall. Zhao Wujin stood in the middle. On both sides of him were 9 inner sect elders who were on par with him. Some of them were even on par with him. Li Fuchen and the group arrived at the Grand Hall. Zhao Wujin said, "We shall depart for the 100 Herbs hidden domain today. Before that, collect your artifact swords and storage bags." As he spoke, 10 inner sect deacons each presented an artifact sword and a beast hide bag. Receiving the artifact sword, Li Fuchen lightly drew it. Clang. A threatening chilling chi and sword chi was emitted, causing goosebumps. It's a mystic class, mid-tier artifact sword, the black gold sword. Li Fuchen thought in his heart. The black gold sword was a direct disciple sword. It was extremely sharp, able to cut through hair and cut through metal like mud. A regular yellow class artifact sword would be broken in a single strike. Even if it was a black iron sword that clashed with the black gold sword, it wouldn't be able to withstand more than a few strikes. A single black gold sword is worth at least 100,000 gold coins. Furthermore, it is hard to find a sword in the outside world. You can't even buy one with gold coins. Li Fuchen sighed at the generosity of the sect. Shifting his gaze from the black gold sword, he looked at the beast hide bag. This should be a storage bag made from the hide of a storage beast. The price of this bag is even higher than the black gold sword. Storage beast was a class 4 demonic beast. It had a trace of the spatial attribute and was able to devour anything in this world. A storage bag made from its hide could store a large amount of items. A small storage bag might even be able to store a large water jar. Inject your chi into the storage bag and the bag will open. Give it a try. An inner sect elder beside Zhao Wujin said. Hearing the instructions, everyone injected their chi into the storage bag. As expected, the storage bag automatically opened. Li Fuchen took a look inside. It was obviously a palm-sized storage bag, but the space inside was about a meter. So mystical. This was the first time the 10 of them saw a storage bag and they were shocked. The world is vast and full of wonders. It's better to be in awe of this world. Li Fuchen calmed himself down. Zhao Wujin said, "The 100 Herbs hidden domain will be open for a week. During this week, you guys should try your best to gather any useful herbs or ores. If you don't have to fight, try your best not to. Of course, if anyone dares to bully you, then don't have to worry. Our Azure Water sect disciples don't cause trouble, but we aren't afraid of trouble either. But if there is a chance, try your best to gather together. Don't give the other sects a chance to kill you one by one." "Yes, great elder." The 10 of them nodded. Zhao Wujin continued, "Other than guarding against the disciples of the other sects, you guys also have to be wary of the demonic beasts in the 100 Herbs secret domain. These demonic beasts have all entered the 100 Herbs secret domain by mistake. Some are high-ranked, some are low-ranked. A few decades ago, there was even a class 3 high-ranked demonic beast that entered by mistake, causing the disciples of the various sects to suffer heavy losses. Of course, the probability of this happening is very small, almost negligible, so you guys don't have to worry needlessly." After explaining everything, Zhao Wujin waved his hand, "Follow me." Finishing his statement, he led the way out of the inner sect Grand Hall. Outside the Grand Hall, Zhao Wujin spoke to the inner sect elder beside him, "Elder Liang, call your 2 treasures over." Elder Liang's hair was disheveled like a savage. He let out a mischievous laugh and suddenly let out a loud whistle. 2 aerial demonic beasts flew over from a mountain peak in the distance. So big! Li Fuchen and the others were shocked. Of the 2 aerial demonic beasts, one was a bird-type demonic beast. It was covered in golden feathers, each feather was a few feet long. When it spread out its wings, it had a wingspan of over 20 meters, almost covering the sky. The other demonic beast was a tiger with wings, but at the end of its tail was a bird's head. When it spread out its wings, it had a wingspan of nearly 20 meters. Class 4 Loter Demonic Beast, Golden Bird. Class 4 Loter Demonic Beast, Winged Tiger. To be exact, it wasn't a demonic beast, but a spirit beast. Spirit beasts were tamed from demonic beasts. Their demonic chi had long been eliminated, leaving only spirit chi within their bodies. This elder Liang Shur is resourceful. He actually tamed 2 Class 4 Loter demonic beasts. Feeling the majestic spirit pressure from the 2 Class 4 low-tier spirit beasts, Li Fuchen and the others felt it hard to breathe. Class 4 low-tier spirit beasts were comparable to low-leveled Heaven Realm martial artists, and the spirit chi within their bodies was much more majestic than a low-leveled Heaven Realm martial artist. If it wasn't for the fact that their combat skills were inferior to humans, even a mid-leveled Heaven Realm martial artist wouldn't be a match for a Class 4 low-tier spirit beast. The Golden Bird and Winged Tiger landed on the ground. Zhao Wujin said, "Let's all go up." The backs of the Golden Bird and Winged Tiger were big enough for a dozen people to stand on. Li Fuchen and Zhao Wujin stood on the back of the Winged Tiger, along with Chen Fenghua, 3 other inner sect disciples, and 4 inner sect elders. The rest of them were on the back of the Golden Bird. "Rise!" Elder Liang called out. The Golden Bird and Winged Tiger exerted strength on their hind legs and soared into the sky. In a few blinks of the eye, they disappeared into the clouds. The Four Regions mountain range was located at the intersection of the Azure Water region, Heaven Fiend region, Violent Saber region, and Spirit Hidden region. Most of them were in the Spirit Hidden region. In the center of the Four Regions mountain range, there was a giant lake. This lake was called the 100 Herbs Lake. Right now, on the surface of the 100 Herbs Lake, there were 2 sects that had arrived first. Each sect had 20 members. 10 inner sect elders and 10 inner sect disciples. These 2 sects were the Violent Saber sect and the Spirit Hidden sect. Be it the Violent Saber sect's inner sect elders or inner sect disciples, they all had a large saber embroidered on the back of their robes. This large saber was extremely domineering and had a total of 9 rings. The handle of the saber was a tiger's head, giving off a wild and unrestrained aura. The Spirit Hidden sect's disciples had a dark cloud on their sleeves. Each of their chi presence was concealed, drifting erratically, as though they could vanish at any moment. No one dared to neglect them. The disciples of the 2 sects sized each other up, their eyes filled with shocking hostility and killing intent. It seemed like a single disagreement would lead to a fight. From the horizon, a beast roar could be heard. It was ear-piercing and clear. The Azure Water sect is here. The Violent Saber sect's inner sect Grand Elder was a stocky veteran. On his back was a platinum, unsheathed large saber. This large saber was as tall as a human and the widest part was a foot wide. When the veteran opened his eyes, his gaze was sharp and domineering, causing people to not dare to look straight at him. In just a short moment, the Golden Bird and Goldwing Tiger arrived above the 100 Herbs Lake. "Get down!" Zhao Wujin was the first to jump down. The rest of the people jumped down as well. Splash, splash, splash. There were ripples on the surface of the lake as the 20 Azure Water sect members all landed on the lake. With a wave of Elder Liang's hand, the Golden Bird and Goldwing Tiger left. It was unknown where they went to look for food. Zhao Wujin, long time no see. The Violent Saber sect's inner sect Grand Elder laughed heartily. His horrific saber-like chi presence rushed at Zhao Wujin. "He Lianhu, you old thing sure have no manners." Zhao Wujin similarly released his chi presence to contest against He Lianhu. Rumble. Pillars of water rose up from the surface of the 100 Herbs Lake. This was the result of their chi presences clashing. The Heaven Fiend sect is here. The Spirit Hidden sect's inner sect Grand Elder was a strange-looking old woman. She lifted her head and looked towards the horizon. From the horizon, a 4-winged pitch-black spirit beast flew over. Chapter 144. Class 4 Mid-Tier Spirit Beast, 4-winged Heaven Fiend Beast. This type of spirit beast was specially bred by the Heaven Fiend sect. Its original appearance was actually a 4-winged earth demonic beast. The four-winged heaven fiend beast was abnormally ferocious. Even though it was only a Class 4 mid-tier beast, once it was injured, its combat strength would increase exponentially. At Class 4 high tier, it was considered a representative spirit beast of the heaven fiend sect. The violent wind was like a blade, as the four-winged heaven fiend beast slowly descended to a height of a few dozen meters. Descend. A black-robed old man landed first, followed by more than 20 people. A total of 13 inner sect elders and 13 inner sect disciples. It was obvious that the Heaven Fiend sect had 3 more spots than the other 3 sections. It's her. Li Fuchen took a quick glance and found the black-robed beauty in the crowd. The black-robed beauty's cultivation was actually at the 9th level of the origin realm. Her chi presence was extremely sharp. Just a glance at her gave off the feeling of a saber slashing at one's body. No wonder she is a 6-star bone frame. It has only been a few months and she has already progressed by 1 level. It seems like she comprehended saber intent. Li Fuchen thought to himself. As Li Fuchen was sizing up Yan Qingwu was also searching for Li Fuchen. This was a woman's intuition. She was certain that Li Fuchen would definitely enter the 100 Herbs hidden domain. Soon enough, Yan Qingwu saw Li Fuchen. The two of them looked at each other, one sharp like a saber, the other calm and peaceful. You think you can pretend nothing happened? Yan Qingwu sneered. Qingwu Shimi, do you know anyone from the Azure Water sect? Beside Yan Qingwu, a 20-plus-year-old youth with a face as pale as snow asked. Frowning, Yan Qingwu replied, no. Her matters, she would settle it herself. Compared to Li Fuchen, she disliked this Li Wuxia even more. Qingwu Shimi must be lying to me. Seems like there are some inner sect disciples that offended you. It doesn't matter, I will kill them all and bring their heads back to you. Li Wuxia licked his lips, his scarlet eyes shot out 2 terrifying and bizarre rays of light. You don't have to care about my matters. Yan Qingwu grunted. Li Wuxia was unconcerned. Junior sister Qingwu's matters are my matters. After all, you will be my wife in the future. Li Wuxia, I will tell you one more time. I will not marry you, not now, and not in the future. Throwing a tantrum again, but I won't argue with you. Li Wuxia had a doting look on his face. Yan Qingwu was so angry that she didn't say anything else. Wei Yiping, it is rare for your Heaven Fiend sect to come so early. The spirit-hidden sect's old hag laughed wickedly. Wei Yiping was that black-robed elder. He ignored the spirit-hidden sect's grand elder and glanced at the 3 sects. Seems like they are still a bunch of clay chickens and pottery dogs. Heaven Fiend sect's disciples, if you see them, kill without mercy. Yes, great elder. Hearing this, the eyes of the Heaven Fiend sect's inner sect disciples were filled with murderous intent. Their bloodlust was as intense as the waves, as though they were beasts. This is simply a demonic sect. Li Fuchen thought in his heart. Others might be afraid of your Heaven Fiend sect, but my Violent Saber sect isn't. Violent Saber sect's disciples, listen up. If you see any Heaven Fiend sect's disciples, kill them as well. Helian who grinned sinisterly. The spirit-hidden sect's old hag was displeased to be ignored by Wei Yiping. But the spirit-hidden sect didn't like to talk, they preferred to assassinate. Which was why the old hag's eyes flashed with a murderous intent. Her lips moved slightly, as though she was saying something to her sect's disciples. See that? This is the relationship between sections. Right at this moment, Zhao Wujin's voice was transmitted into the ears of Li Fuchen and the others. Hearing this, apart from Li Fuchen, the rest of them had some chi fluctuations. Some were excited, some were panicking, and some were apprehensive. Only Li Fuchen could maintain his original state of mind and not be affected by the outside world. Since there is still some time, let me tell you about the key disciples of the various sections. That disciple with the ghost head saber is the Violent Saber sect's inner sect's top disciple, Mad Saber Duanhai. He is famous for being a saber maniac. If you see him, do not use brute force against him. If you can escape, do so. This person goes crazy when he sees blood. He once killed a fellow inner sect disciple and was confined for a year. After he came out a year later, he crippled another inner sect disciple and was confined for another year. His ability is strong enough to instantly kill a regular first-level Earth Realm martial artist. Everyone followed Zhao Wujin's gaze. In the violent saber sects camp, there was a 20-plus-year-old youth with disheveled hair. His eyes were drooping and his fingers were moving, as though he was counting something. Sensing that someone was looking at him, he couldn't help but lift his head. What kind of eyes were these? There wasn't a trace of emotion in his eyes, only madness and bloodthirst. He was even scarier than most of the Heaven Fiend sect's inner sect disciples. Such fearsome eyes. Chen Fenghua was a female after all, and her body couldn't help but shiver. Qin Shiji, don't look at him. Li Fuchen whispered. If a person's courage was destroyed, their ability would be greatly reduced. It was obvious that this mad saber Duan Hai had a willpower that could make one submit without a fight. He wasn't someone that a regular person could deal with. Chen Fenghua nodded and quickly lowered her head. Zhao Wujin nodded with approval. Among the 10, only one remained unmoved, and that was Li Fuchen. Even after seeing Feng Dao, Duan Hai remained unmoved. Let alone his ability, just his courage alone was enough to make others look at him in a different light. This type of person would always be able to remain calm under any circumstances. Calmness was also a form of combat ability. Lu Wuhuang, Xiao Libi, Yuan Tian, and the others all had some sort of emotional fluctuation. These emotional fluctuations weren't necessarily fear, but compared to Li Fuchen's calmness, they were still lacking. Beside Mad Saber Duan Hai is the violent saber sect's inner sect's number 2 disciple, Blood Saber Ling Huang. This person isn't ordinary either. He is the only one in the violent saber sect's inner sect who is still unscathed after exchanging moves with Mad Saber Duan Hai. You have to pay extra attention to him. After introducing 4 of the violent saber sect's disciples, Zhao Wujin started to introduce the Spirit Hidden sect's disciples. The Spirit Hidden sect's disciples specialize in sneak attacks and assassinations. Their footwork and body skills are extremely strange. The top inner sect disciple is called Young Master Spectre, Duan Muyo. He has a record of assassinating a 3rd-level Earth Realm martial artist. Remember, if you see this person, do not get too close to him and do not neglect his presence. If not, before you can even react, you might already be dead. The female disciple beside him is called Ghost Girl, Yi Hua. She is proficient in illusion techniques. Do not look into her eyes or even at any part of her body. This girl is much more terrifying than Mad Saber Duan Hai and Young Master Spectre, Duan Muyo. Avoid her if you see her. The dwarf disciple at the back is Spirit Child, Jiang Xiaomao. His body is a little special, like a human but not a human, like a ghost but not a ghost. His ability has always been unfathomable. He is someone that even Young Master Spectre, Duan Muyo and Ghost Girl, Yi Hua wouldn't want to offend. It is better not to offend someone whose ability is unclear. Without waiting for Zhao Wujin to introduce the Heaven Fiend sect's inner sect disciples, Li Fuchen suddenly said, "Grand Elder, I have an objection." "What objection do you have?" Zhao Wujin and the other Azure Water sect's inner sect elders were either astonished or frowning at Li Fuchen. P.S. Apologies, forgot the timing and just got back from the gathering. Chapter 145. We definitely need to pay attention to these people, but there is no need to boost their morale and destroy our Tsanglan sect's prowess. We cultivators of the sword, we must be fearless. If we meet a god, we shall slay a god. If we meet a Buddha, we shall slay a Buddha. The sharpness of the sword shall slay all obstacles. If there is fear in the heart, then the sword Dao will not be sincere. If the sword Dao is not sincere, then how can we overcome all obstacles and advance bravely? Li Fuchen explained his understanding of the situation. Then what you mean is that no matter who we meet, we have to fight and face death with equanimity? An inner sect elder questioned. Li Fuchen replied calmly, yes and no. It is important to judge the situation, but it is even more important to be fearless. These people, there is no need to demonize them. They are all humans with flesh and blood. Once the sword pierces in, it will still be blood. Since they are of flesh and blood, why must we avoid them? Could it be that when our Azure Water sect encounters a formidable foe, we have to retreat? After hearing Zhao Wujin's speech, some of the Canglan sect inner sect disciples felt fear. Don't even talk about meeting Mad Saber Duan Hai and the others. Even if they were to meet someone who had the same ability as them, they would still be killed by the enemy because of their fear. Well said. Zhao Wujin didn't criticize Li Fuchen. Instead, he was full of smiles. He was confused because of his concern. He was worried that these 10 seedlings would all die in the 100 Herbs secret realm, so his tone was very conservative. However, they did not know that a true swordsman must have a fearless heart. If the heart was flawed, the sword would also be flawed. How could one cultivate the way of the sword? This old one's tone earlier was a little inappropriate. You just need to pay attention to the people I mentioned earlier. But if there is a need for a battle, then show the prowess of the Azure Water sect. Let them be afraid of us, not the other way around. After all, our Azure Water sect's sword Dao isn't something to be trifled with. The sword is a sword that kills. Only when it drinks blood will it become sharp. After listening to Li Fuchen and Zhao Wujin's words, the cowardly inner sect disciples had their eyes lit up and were emitting traces of sharp qi presence. As for the other inner sect disciples who weren't so afraid, after listening to the speech, their sword Dao heart became even firmer. Lu Wuhuang looked at Li Fuchen with a serious expression. He didn't feel it in the past, but now he suddenly felt that Li Fuchen was extremely terrifying. Even more terrifying than Mad Saber Duan Hai or young Master Spectre Duan Mio. Looking at the Heaven Fiend sect's camp, Zhao Wujin started to introduce the Heaven Fiend sect's inner sect disciples. The first person that the Heaven Fiend sect has to pay attention to is Blood Fiend Li Wuxia. He is the son of the Heaven Fiend sect patriarch and possesses the 5-star baleful blood bone frame. This bone frame isn't inferior to the other 5-star extraordinary bone frames in all aspects, but it also has an effect. The more people he kills, the stronger the baleful aura. The stronger the baleful aura, the more potential he can stimulate. It is rumored that he has already killed over 1,000 people and every one of them was a martial artist with a similar cultivation level as him. Have you killed more than 1,000 people? Even though everyone had been motivated just now, and their cowardice had been reduced to the minimum, when they heard that Li Wuxia had killed over 1,000 people, they still couldn't help but change their expressions. Compared to Li Wuxia, the number of people they had killed was probably not even a fraction of his. This is simply a murderous demon. White Water Sword by Tao couldn't help but ask. Zhao Wujin continued. 3 meters to the right of Li Wuxia is the Black Fiend Lung Wuchang. Beside Lung Wuchang is the White Fiend Gao Chou. The two of them are known as the Black and White Fiend duo and are proficient in joint attacks. Their individual strength is already able to easily kill a first-level Earth Realm martial artist. When they work together, their strength will increase by 2-folds. Their reputation in the Heaven Fiend sect isn't inferior to Li Wuxia. Claw Ghost Xianxia cultivates the Heaven Fiend sect's most difficult mystic class low-tier claw art, the Netherworld Ghost Claw. It is rumored that among the Heaven Fiend sect's disciples, only 3 of them have cultivated the Netherworld Ghost Claw to the trance stage. 2 of them are direct disciples and have incomparably valiant strength. It is rumored that they aren't inferior to Li Wuxia, but they are wary of Li Wuxia's identity. The last one is the Heaven Fiend sect's major clan, the Yen clan's most outstanding prodigy, Yan Qingwu. This girl's strength might not be comparable to Li Wuxia's Black and White Fiend duo and Claw Ghost Xianxia, but she has the greatest potential because she has a 6-star bone frame. What Li Wuxia? What Black and White Fiend duo? What Claw Ghost Xianxia? Everyone was frowning as they listened. From Zhao Wujin's words, everyone vaguely knew that Li Wuxia wasn't any weaker than Mad Saber Duan Hai. While the Black and White Fiend duo might be slightly weaker individually, but if they worked together, they would probably surpass Li Wuxia. Apart from that, this Claw Ghost Xianxia wasn't any weaker than Li Wuxia either. Just these 4 individuals were enough to prove that the Heaven Fiend sect's prodigies were stronger than any of the 3 major sections. This was the consensus of everyone. But when they found out that Yan Qingwu was a 6-star bone frame, Everyone was still stunned. What kind of concept was a 6-star bone frame? No one didn't know. If a 4-star bone frame was already considered a prodigy, a 5-star bone frame was considered a first-rate prodigy, while a 6-star bone frame was considered a generational prodigy. Since the establishment of the Azure Water sect, apart from the first-generation sect patriarch who was a 6-star bone frame, there had never been another 6-star bone frame. A 6-star bone frame had the hope of surpassing the reincarnation realm and reaching an even higher realm. At that realm, a single individual was equivalent to a sect. A single individual was enough to suppress an entire sect. Anyone who dared to disobey would be eliminated. The Heaven Fiend sect is too fearsome. The Mountain Creek Sword, Luo Yishan muttered. It is indeed a fearsome sect. Li Fuchen agreed in his heart. Li Fuchen could imagine what kind of threat Yan Qingwu would pose to the 3 major sects once she matured. His eyes turning cold, Zhao Wujin said, "So, I request for all of you. If you meet this girl, try your best to kill her. Whoever kills her will be rewarded with 3 million contribution points and the exchange privileges will be upgraded to inner sect elder class. As long as you have enough contribution points, you can basically redeem anything." The threat of a 6-star bone frame was too great. A few decades later, if the Azure Water sect was to be annihilated, it would probably be in the hands of this girl. "Grand Elder, don't worry. I will kill this girl." Even though Yan Qingwu had exceptional looks and Lu Wuhuang was tempted, but if he had the chance, he would definitely kill Yan Qingwu. As long as he had the ability, he could get any woman he wanted. 3 million contribution points to exchange privileges with an inner sect elder was a huge temptation to him. Just like the Azure Water sect, the Grand Elders of the Violent Saber sect and Spirit Hidden sect also gave out kill orders to their disciples. As long as they killed Yan Qingwu, they would be rewarded handsomely. The tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. With such a demonic talent, it won't be easy for her to mature. Li Fuchen felt a huge pressure in his heart. He didn't know if he would receive such treatment in the future. After all, his soul spirit talent was too terrifying. He was obviously a normal bone frame, but had a perception that surpassed a 5-star bone frame. If his soul spirit turned pale blue, it would be at least 2 folds more fearsome. This 100 herbs hidden domain is an opportunity. I need to grow faster. What Li Fuchen didn't know was that he had already become a thorn in the eyes of the 3 sections. In the information from the 3 sects, Li Fuchen, Lu Wuhuang, and Xiao Libi were all noteworthy targets and must be killed on sight. Even Yuan Tian was blacklisted. No matter what, he was still a 5-star bone frame. But he was still young. If he was 1 or 2 years older, he wouldn't be any weaker than Lu Wuhuang. Chapter 146. At noon, a thick fog suddenly rose from the surface of the 100-grass lake. This fog was very strange. Even though everyone used a strong gust of wind, they were unable to dissipate the fog in the slightest. It was as if this fog did not belong to the same world as them. Just as everyone was feeling pressured, within the center of the fog, there was a 5-colored light. A 5-colored door gradually emerged. The 100 Herbs Gate has appeared. The 4 sects gathered towards the 100 Herbs Gate. This 100 Herbs Gate has the ability to teleport through space. Those who enter will be teleported to different locations. Remember what I've said. Don't cause trouble and don't be afraid of trouble. If you meet people from the 3 sects, try not to fight if you can avoid it. But if you have to fight, then do your best to show your might. As for the specific situation, I'll leave it to you. Also, try to find opportunities to raise your strength in there. If there are any herbs that can directly raise your cultivation or physique, take them out. Anyway, you have to ensure your own lives. I hope that all 10 of you can come out alive. Right now, the 100 Herbs Gate was slowly opening. The Heaven Fiend sect's inner sect disciples rushed out and entered the gate. Azure Water sect's Lu Wuhuang was the first to rush out, followed by Xiao Libi. In a blink of the eye, the 4 inner sect disciples all entered the 100 Herbs Gate. Since the 3 of you are idling outside, why not have a bet? Heaven Fiend sect's inner sect Grand Elder, Wei Yiping grinned. What kind of bet? He Lianhu's eyes lit up. Zhao Wujin and the spirit-hidden sect's old hag looked over too. Wei Yiping said, "Let's have a contest. Which of the 4 sects has the least casualties? The sect with the least casualties will be the final winner. For every disciple that dies, the other 3 sects will have to fork out 1 million gold coins to the winner." "I'll bet." He Lianhu immediately said. "My spirit-hidden sect cannot possibly lose." "I'll bet too." The spirit-hidden sect's old hag is very confident in her disciples. The spirit-hidden sect specializes in sneak attacks and would rarely put themselves in danger. "Since the 3 of you are participating, I have no reason not to." A few million gold coins meant nothing to Zhao Wujin. Even if it was 10 million gold coins, it would only make his heart ache. Of course, he didn't wish to be the loser. As compared to the gold coins, the value of Li Fuchen and the others was obviously higher. "Very good. It seems that you are all quite confident. Unfortunately, confidence is useless. Just wait to give me gold coins." Wei Yiping was in an extremely good mood. In his opinion, the 3 sects would lose without a doubt. Each sect had given him a few million gold coins, which added up to more than 10 million gold coins. No one will know the result until the very end. Zhao Wujin sneered. In the 100 Herbs secret realm, the density of the heaven and earth spiritual qi was unimaginable. It was even several times denser than Shoshua town. Cultivating here, there was no need for qi cultivating pills, and one could improve at the best speed. If I were to cultivate in the secret realm for a year or so, it wouldn't be difficult for me to advance to the Disher realm? Slowly landing from the sky on a grassland, Li Fuchen secretly thought. That's impossible, right? The moment he landed, Li Fuchen's eyes widened as if he had seen something incredible. All the grass on the grassland was actually medicinal herbs. Even though they were all low-tier yellow rank herbs, each of them was only worth 2 to 3 gold coins. However, it was impossible to count how many medicinal herbs there were in an entire grassland. There are gold coins everywhere. Since coming to the 100 Herbs secret realm, this was the first time Li Fuchen lost his composure. Trying his best to calm himself down, Li Fuchen let out a bitter laugh. Even though the ground was filled with gold coins, he couldn't bring them all away. The storage bag was only 1 meter in size. Even if it was filled with yellow class, low-tier herbs, it wouldn't be able to hold much. What's more, he couldn't possibly keep all the yellow class, low-tier herbs. A single mystic class, low-tier herb was worth 10,000 stalks of yellow class, low-tier herbs. Which was why harvesting mystic class herbs was the way to go. Forget it, I shall not look at them. Li Fuchen tried his best to treat the herbs beneath his feet as normal weeds. The grassland was huge. Even after walking for an hour, he still wasn't able to walk out. This is the 7-star Earth Lotus, mystic class, low tier, valued at 20,000 gold coins. This is the bull calf flower, mystic class, low tier, valued at 15,000 gold coins. This is the green vine fruit, mystic class, low tier, valued at 25,000 gold coins. The rumors weren't wrong. Within the 100 Herbs secret realm, mystic class herbs were common. In just an hour, Li Fuchen found several stalks of mystic class, low-tier herbs. It was equivalent to picking up 60,000 to 70,000 gold coins. As he walked, Li Fuchen found a demonic beast. This was a Class 2 high-tier demonic beast, the Blood Kirin. This type of demonic beast loved meat and was an extreme carnivore. But at this moment, the Blood Kirin was frenziedly gnawing on the grass, as though it was eating a delicacy. Li Fuchen laughed. It seemed like these demonic beasts that mistakenly entered the 100 Herbs secret realm were attracted by the herbs on the ground. Be it the carnivorous demonic beasts or the herbivorous demonic beasts, they were all gnawing on the grass. Lifting its head, the Blood Kirin noticed Li Fuchen. With a flash of viciousness in its eyes, the Blood Kirin pounced at Li Fuchen. A carnivorous demonic beast was ultimately a carnivorous demonic beast. When it saw a delicacy like a human, its instinctive appetite would be triggered. Li Fuchen remained indifferent and continued to walk. Bang! Just as the Blood Kirin was about to bite Li Fuchen, Li Fuchen's body emitted a blazing intent that could destroy all living beings, sending the blood Kirin flying. Before it even landed on the ground, it was already dead. Its entire body was charred black and emitting smoke. The scales had fallen off and not a single spot was left intact. Even at death's door, the blood Kirin couldn't understand how this human in front of it could be so strong. Just by relying on chi protection, he could easily kill it. This was something even regular low-leveled Earth Realm martial artists couldn't do. Ice Fire Flower, Mystic Class, High-Tier Herb. One stalk is worth around 400,000 gold coins. A few hours later, Li Fuchen's luck was on the rise as he found a rare Mystic Class, High-Tier Herb, Ice Fire Flower. This flower contained both ice and fire spiritual chi. If a fire-type cultivation technique consumed this flower, it could effectively lower the temperature. It wouldn't cause the body to be engulfed in flames and wouldn't cause the meridians to wither. If an ice-cold cultivation technique consumed this flower, it could also effectively protect the internal organs and prevent the cold chi from damaging the lungs. For example, if Li Fuchen cultivated the true Inferno technique, with his current physique and cultivation level, he would only be able to cultivate to the 15th rank. But with the Ice Fire Flower, he could definitely cultivate to the 16th rank or even the 17th rank. Carefully placing the Ice Fire Flower into the jade box, Li Fuchen revealed a smile. This flower might be of great use in the future. Look, isn't that Azure Water Sect's Li Fuchen? At the edge of the prairie, two Heaven Fiend sect inner sect disciples unexpectedly met with Li Fuchen. Chapter 147. Heaven Fiend Sect Disciple? Li Fuchen's eyes burst with a dazzling radiance. He wasn't a bloodthirsty person. Under normal circumstances, if others didn't provoke him, he wouldn't provoke them either. However, this was the 100 Herbs secret realm. He needed more storage bags, the more the better, and there was only one way to get storage bags, and that was to rob other people's storage bags. In order to reach the pinnacle of the Sword Dao, Li Fuchen didn't mind killing anyone who stood in his way. Right now, the ones who stood in his way were the Heaven Fiend Sect, Violent Saber Sect, and Spirit Hidden Sect. I'm sorry. Li Fuchen skimmed towards the duo. You're courting death. You actually dare to approach me on your own initiative. The two Heaven Fiend Sect inner sect disciples revealed a ferocious killing intent. As inner sect disciples of the Heaven Fiend Sect, they had an innate sense of superiority. In their eyes, the other sects were all weak chickens. Even if Li Fuchen was the top disciple of the Azure Water Sect, if the two of them worked together, they would still be able to eliminate him. Hand over the storage bag, and I can leave your corpse intact, otherwise. Two Heaven Fiend Sect inner sect disciples approached Li Fuchen from the left and right. But before they could even finish their conversation, Li Fuchen attacked. Li Fuchen didn't even need to make a move, he just burst out with Scarlet Fire Chi. The raging Scarlet Fire true energy was like a storm, rushing towards the two of them. Mixed within was the Scarlet Fire technique intent that could destroy all living things. Both of them were severely injured in an instant. Their protective Jin Chi was like a piece of paper. As expected, my cultivation is still too low. Li Fuchen didn't mind. These two were at the peak of the Origin Realm and he was only at the 7th level of the Origin Realm. Furthermore, using Chi to rush at the enemy was far inferior to executing martial arts. How can he be so strong? A burst of true energy can seriously injure us. The two Heaven Fiend Sect inner sect disciples were dumbfounded. Then came endless fear. In their eyes, even Li Wuxia and Xianxia weren't that terrifying. Only the black-white double ghosts together would have such power. Damn it, the information from the upper echelons is too outdated. How is this person worth paying attention to? He's simply a freak, a monster, and an extremely dangerous existence. If we see him, we should immediately run away and avoid him. Run, we must bring news of him to the others. At this moment, both of them only had a single thought in their minds, and that was to run. Run for their lives. Do you think you can escape? Activating the divine movement leg, Li Fuchen swiftly caught up to the duo and sent a palm strike at each of them. Mystic level low-tier palm art, iron smelting hand. With a crash, the two of them fell to the ground and slid a dozen meters away. Their bodies were charred black like charcoal, and they couldn't be more dead. The scarlet fire intent is too strong. Li Fuchen sighed in his heart. Middle-tier mystic-ranked cultivation intent could be directly injected into the iron-smelting hand, almost pushing the iron-smelting hand to the level of a middle-tier mystic-ranked cultivation intent. With a palm strike, the ferocious scarlet fire intent entered the two's bodies along with the palm force. Walking over, Li Fuchen picked up the storage pouch of the two. He infused his Xianxia into it. He opened it. There were quite a number of mystic rank herbs, most of which were low-tier mystic rank, and only 2 of them were mid-tier mystic rank. 3 storage bags can be filled as much as possible. Before this, in Li Fuchen's storage bags, other than mystic class herbs, there were plenty of yellow class high-tier herbs and yellow class peak-tier herbs. Yellow class high-tier herbs were worth a few hundred gold coins, while yellow class peak-tier herbs were worth up to 1,000 gold coins. Accumulating them, it was still worth a lot of gold coins, and Li Fuchen didn't want to waste them. Other than that, the duo's armor and weapons were worth a total of 200,000 to 300,000 gold coins. So the resources within the 100 herbs hidden domain aren't just herbs and ores. The disciples from other sects are also resources. Killing any one of them would yield a huge fortune. Li Fuchen's heart was filled with murderous intent. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Not long after Li Fuchen left, the ground of the 100 herbs hidden domain suddenly shook and swiftly devoured the corpses of the 2 Heaven Fiend sect inner sect disciples. In just a short moment, there were no traces left. At the same time, the other places within the 100 herbs hidden domain were filled with killings. Mad Saber Duan Hai had an overwhelming ability and instantly killed the Azure Water sect inner sect disciple, Luoishan. Blood Saber Ling Huang's blood transformation cleave dissolved the blood of the spirit hidden sect's disciple, turning him into a tattered corpse. Young Master Spectre, Duan Muyo, appeared and disappeared unpredictably. The violent Saber sect disciples that he killed didn't even know how they died. There was also Ghost Girl Yi Hua and Spirit Child Jiang Xiaomao. Each of them killed regular prodigies as though they were chickens, effortlessly. As for the 5 formidable prodigies from the Heaven Fiend sect, there was no need to even mention them. They were all murderous demons. In less than a day, out of the 43 individuals that entered, more than 10 of them had already been killed. Run, hurry up and run. Chen Fanghua and an inner sect disciple named Lu Xiaofei were frantically escaping. Behind them, Claw Ghost Zheng Xian was in hot pursuit. His speed was obviously faster than the 2 of them. How did I meet Claw Ghost Zheng Xian? Someone save me. Lu Xiaofei didn't want to die. He still had a bright future ahead of him. He didn't want to die in the 100 herbs hidden domain. Although he knew from the start that the 100 herbs secret realm was dangerous, him at that time was full of ambition. He didn't care about these dangers at all. Only when he really met with danger did he realize that he was afraid of death. In the past, he wasn't afraid of death because he had never met an enemy that he couldn't defeat. The wanted criminals in the mission were all useless people. They were just a little more cunning. Chen Fanhua's face was pale as well. She didn't want to die either. If there was a chance to live, no one would want to die. Meeting such an undefeatable enemy, the only way is to escape. Chen Fanghua didn't misinterpret Li Fuchen's meaning. She understood that Li Fuchen didn't want them to risk their lives every time they met. He just wanted them to not develop any fear and not lose their heart of the sword Dao because of fear. In just a short moment, Zheng Xian was only 10 feet away from the 2 of them. Netherworld Ghost Claw. Zheng Xian wore a pair of black claw gloves on his hands. With a swing of his claws, a few streaks of light flashed. Lu Xiaofei's chi protection was torn apart like a piece of paper. Shortly after, the Class 3 leather armor on his body was also torn apart. Blood and flesh splattered along with the shattered bones. Lu Xiaofei was instantly killed and crashed onto the ground. Lu Shixiang is dead? Chen Fanghua was in a daze for a moment. Seeing Lu Xiaofei, who had a bright future, die in front of her had a huge impact on Chen Fanghua. This was the first time she felt the cruelty of the world. Risk it. Chen Fanghua didn't try to escape. Instead, she turned around and faced Jing Xian. Since there was no way to retreat, then she had to risk her life. Even if she had to die with dignity. Not going to escape? A wise choice. Take off all your clothes now. If I feel comfortable, I may grant you a dignified death. If not, even if you die, I have 100 ways to torture your corpse. Claw Ghost Jing Xian was extremely cruel. His eyes were filled with a sickly glow. You devil! The courage that Chen Fanghua gathered with great difficulty instantly crumbled. She couldn't deal with such a person. Devil? I am 100 times scarier than a devil. Jing Xian walked towards Chen Fanghua. Chen Shiji, do you need help? At this moment, a figure appeared on a small hill not far away. Li Shidi. Welcome to Legends of Cultivation, audiobooks, where we bring ancient fantasy to life through storytelling. Follow the rise of heroes who defy fate, unlock mystical powers, and battle across celestial realms. Our audiobooks are crafted for fans of Chinese cultivation novels, filled with battles, breakthroughs, and legendary artifacts. Subscribe and be part of an unforgettable journey into the realm of immortality.